It's July here at the garden. I haven't done anything. Let's take a look around to see what needs to be done and what's happening. I need to get these beans trained up the arch, but it seems like they just can't reach it quite yet. The nasturtiums are starting to pop up out of the ground. And we actually have one of our garden surprises here. I top dressed the beans with some compost, and clearly there were seeds in there waiting to germinate. We will see what that turns into. I'm super excited about this warm crop garden. I did a cover crop on it last fall, and this is the first year of planting in it. So we'll see if I got my spacing wrong or not. I possibly have overplanted the space. Let's I spy and see what we can find here. Definitely, I have to always have shelling peas in my garden. Now, peas are something that you usually don't put in a garden away from home because they need to be picked daily during certain parts of the year, but here we are. We have dill at the bottom and we have cucumbers planted. And the plan was that the peas would be done and the cucumbers could grow up and I would just chop and drop the peas. But the peas are still flowering and putting on peas. So we're just going to share the space as long as we can. We definitely have flowers coming on for our cucumbers. They're starting to crawl and run all over the place up into the pepper patch here. It's fun to start seeing peppers form on the plants. We have our border of flowers. So there's calendula, you're going to see marigolds. I'm trying to plant some carrots here and there. Here you can see the row spacing gets a little tight. We've got the peas, cucumbers. These fava beans are down the center of the row, and then it goes right into tomato lane. Comment below, do you think this is going to turn into a disaster or is it going to balance itself out? We do have tomatoes finally forming here. Now, I haven't pruned anything, actually. Tell me how you feel about that. The carrots grow underneath. We've got basil and anise hyssop tucked in places. A few weeds here and there, of course. I don't actually have the pathways covered. I sort of broadcasted seeds that were extra, and we're just going to chop and drop them as they grow. I haven't tied the tomatoes to the trellis. I'm trying to weave them in and out the best I can. I do have cowpeas growing in between each tomato. Again, is this too much? I have to pick and choose what I'm going to use for my time while I'm there. Here's my row of bush beans. It's either Contender or Blue Lake. I don't know which one. I don't remember. When looking at the pepper patch, there's a bunch of things that bolted and went to flower. Now, that was sort of purposefully done. Like I said, the theme this year is just throw the seeds in the ground, whatever I have. I had a bunch of leftover brassica type things, and so I just broadcasted them all over. Once they flowered, I thought, well, we can't have them sitting here like this going to seed, so we're going to chop and drop everything as we go along this tour to sort of create a mulch. I did leave the roots in the ground so the microorganisms have something to eat, but you can see like it's little full. The peppers need some airflow, they need sunlight. It's time to deal with this. It looks beautiful. Look how tall the marigolds are getting. It's I'm very proud of this garden, this specific one I'm showing here. Now, to trellis or support a pepper or not to, we are running an experiment. Not all my peppers have support, so we will see at the end of the season who performed better. Does a freak windstorm come and topple over and snap the peppers that aren't supported? Subscribe to find out in the next garden tour. Here's a good overview of this space. I need to make a choice. What do I want to do with the tomatoes? Do I want to keep trying to weave them or do I want to tie them? Do I want to trim and prune them? Look here. What is that? Tell me in the comments below. That purple thing. Because I broadcasted and threw it a bunch of seeds and I'm not exactly sure. I could take a guess, but let me know. As far as weeding, I have see that grass right there. Well, this tomato, he wants to grow on the ground. He will not stay on the trellis. I don't know if I should fight him and argue with him or just let him grow on the ground. But yeah, see the grass coming up? I usually take a shovel and pop that out of there, but most of the other stuff I chop and drop. Here we go. Here's some more of those bonus secret plants from the compost, because it's just supposed to be my beans. This is the Jack and the Beanstalk bean. It's supposed to get super tall, make a sword bean. This space is brand new. just developed this year. We broadcasted some kind of knee-high wildflower mix into it, and look at all the pretty colors. Be good for pollinators. This is a space that in the future I want to develop into something more, but we needed a placeholder to hold, the soil and the roots and the life. So here we are. We're doing whatever these flowers are. If you know the name of any of them, go ahead, put them in the comments below. I did plant purposefully some sunflowers and zinnias in there, and I feel like they're taking forever to grow. I'm not sure if they need something more. They're getting water, they're getting sun. Maybe it's just me being impatient. Okay, tell me what you see here. What is this patch? This is another experiment. This is a new space this year. We started it with a crop of clover, so that's gonna be the ground cover layer, and then here now we're seeing the cantaloupe, and it is flowering and it seems happy. But what this is supposed to be is a huge mixed up watermelon patch. So I did a short, and then I think in my last garden tour I talked about which varieties of watermelon and the purpose of why I'm planting so many. We're doing an experiment with landrace gardening or adaptation agriculture. Joseph Lofthouse wrote the book about this procedure, and then David the Good always talks about it, and his family does their own landrace watermelon. So what I want to do is save seed from ones that I deem worthy of saving seed from. We did do some nasturtium plantings and calendula plantings because I was a little paranoid that we needed to have some flowers near here. Now, okay, these elderberry plants, there's 4 different ones, and the varieties, I don't have the notes in front of me. The tag is on the plant. I'm sorry, I can't tell you what they are in this gardening tour, but what I want to know is, do they send like underground offshoots that come up away from the mother, and this is gonna like fill in, or do they just grow up? Like, that's what I'm trying to figure out. So let me know in the comments below. This is year 2. The first year of them being in the ground, they did not flower, so this is the first time that I'm seeing them flower, and it's super wonderful. After the flower, we'll have the berries forming, of course, and then we can dry them and use them for all kinds of fun things. Teas, syrups, tell me, how do you use your dried elderberry in the comments below. I'd love to get some new ideas. We did fermented honey with elderberries last year. Here is a fruit tree that I'm still surprised how good it looks. This was planted last year. That was the cherry tree. This one is the nectarine tree, and the leaves are so different than any of the other trees that I'm used to seeing here in Minnesota. This was actually filmed early in the morning, so you're seeing this shade garden in the sun, so it might be a little weird. It's on the north end of a building. We have columbine and tiger lilies, and hostas are flowering. That's what the flowers look like on our hosta. We're gonna rip out this giant weed. If you know the name of the weed, put it in the comments below. Just letting the chickweed be the ground cover, and we're not going to stress out about it. I did cardboard to cover it last year, and I just gave up this year. Here's our wonderful wildflower patch with the rock wall. This was planted last year, and then we just kind of waited to see what comes up this year. I wish I would have put zinnias in this space to kind of have a summer flower. To be honest with you, we did a huge weeding of this space while I was there because things were starting to grow out of control, I felt like. This weed is my arch nemesis. It reroots from the parts of the plant. It gets huge. It's everywhere. We threw the weeds in the burn pile, and we're just going to burn them. We're not going to try and compost them or chop and drop them for that one reason of that one weed. If you know the name of it, put it in the comments below. Now we're looking at a rain garden that I didn't do any research on how to plant the rain garden when I planted it, but I recently did a live stream how to plant a rain garden, how to design a rain garden, so watch that if you want to learn what not to do, because I just kind of winged it, to be honest with you. This is a new space, new project this year. It seems to be filling in nicely. This is our beginning landscaping around of a deck that was put in this year. All right, so this is inspired by David the Good's Grocery Row Garden book. That's how I decided where to put like fruit trees and blueberries and raspberries and stuff. And then now I'm just kind of filling in some more perennials and some annuals. Like that was comfrey. That's our good chop and drop. We've got our garlic in here. We're starting to establish herbs. We've got a bunch of herbs that we put in. There's honeyberries that are on year 2. Look at all the grass that we need to chop and drop or just dig it out with a shovel. I haven't decided. I hate handling grass. I really do. We have this cranberry growing and it looks super healthy. I'm not sure if I should add more wood chips. Like at some point this season, we're just kind of letting strawberries run. Here are the Egyptian walking onions. They're filling up, forming at the top bulbils, I think they're called. Once they get heavy, they'll drop to the ground, and then each one of those. Oh, look at that. Here do we have here? Japanese beetle. I did not have my cup of soapy water with me to place them into the water to get rid of them. Here I chopped and dropped some comfrey to help feed the soil around the fruit tree, the Asian pear. Here's the raspberries. Japanese beetles apparently love eating the leaves of these. You can see the damage that they do. They're eating the leaves away. The only way I know how to get rid of them that makes sense for me is hand picking them into the cup of soapy water. Look, there's those raspberries in there. I don't want to use any kind of spray. I don't want to use a trap. I don't want to squish them because I don't want to attract more. Here, we did a project, okay? We chopped and dropped all those plants that have bolted and went to flower that I was talking about earlier. Kind of looks like an animal tromped through there, but the animal was me. I left the roots in the ground and I just chopped with the pruners at the base and let everything lay down and kind of walked on it. So now it's going to have a nice way to feed the soil, and it's going to keep it covered. And now the peppers have airflow and sunlight and they can rock and roll. Our garden tour for August is definitely going to have pepper harvesting in it, so make sure you subscribe to get notified for that. Look at this beautiful lily row. These were planted by my mother. I don't know the names of any of them. I know that each color has its own special name. And then also, if you know the type of lily, do I just say daylily when I explain these? Put it in the comments below, because I have another type of lily I'm going to show after these, and I don't know if they're in the same category, and I need your help. That wildflower space that's new this year, I want to get a bunch of lilies different ones than these ones and get those established in that space and just build all these different layers of perennial blooming flowers for each month of the year for the different seasons. So that's like the future goal, which takes time and money, and a lot of that stuff gets planted in the fall. So I'm sure I'll take you with me and we'll look at all the things that we plant and order, because I'm thinking hundreds, right? We're just gonna fill it. Here's that other lily. See how the shape is different? There's yellow, red, and orange. And then the leaves are different. So help me out. Are they both daylilies? I don't know much about them. Here we have what I don't like to talk about. I don't like looking at it. I think it's embarrassing. I want to burn it down, tarp it, solarize it, and cover crop it at this point. You see all that? I mean, yeah, okay, I've got sunflowers, I've got popcorn, I've got dried beans. I'm trying to grow carrots. The peas are finishing out. But just look at this mess. Just, it's grass that crawled in everywhere. And that terrible weed is all over in here. So I have to be patient because I still have crops that I want, like those. And possibly if I get this cleaned up, I could do a fall crop garden in here. But look at that thing. That thing is so evil. It's everywhere. The radishes went to flower, which is fine because I want the seed pods anyways. But yeah, the carrots have no room to breathe because that stinking weed. Look at that thing. Why? You'll see I have boards down, so obviously nothing can grow up through the board, and I'm glad I did because now I can walk on them. But yeah, all these peas need to be chopped and dropped. They're done. I'd like to get the soil cleaned up before I plant a fall pea, because that's the plan, is to plant a fall pea here. But I just can't in these weeds. Now this is an experiment. Did you see that? I'm using that clear plastic to do a section to tarp it and solarize it to see if it'll kill what's in there. But I did order something to do the rest of the garden with, so that'll be on the next garden tour. Hopefully you'll see the progress for that. Everything that was planted over here on this side isn't growing. Like, I feel like it should be way more developed for when I planted it. That nasturtium seems happy. And yes, there's cabbages or broccoli or whatever they are that bolted. Here we're looking at that thing. That green caterpillar, that white cabbage moth caterpillar. So I just squish it. There's things that you can make to spray on your plants, but have I had the time to make things and then drive to the garden and do it at sunset to spray it and apply it? No, I haven't. So this is what we get. Look, more of those wonderful, terrible, no good for nothing weeds. Again, I don't have one of those weed torch propane flamethrower things. Otherwise, I would have definitely walked through with that on these. This is some kohlrabi, and it doesn't seem to be getting big. Maybe I'm supposed to pick it at that stage. I'm not sure. I've never grown it before. Another goal I have for this space. So, okay, backstory. This garden is like 30 years old. This is the garden I helped grow food in as a little girl. And it always looked beautiful. So this is completely embarrassing that now I'm the one taking care of it and it looks like this. Okay, back to what I was saying. I actually want to take a soil sample and send it to the University of Minnesota and have a full panel. Not just the basic one, but the full breakdown of what is in the soil, so I can maybe make a plan. Our memorial butterfly garden for my mother is starting to bloom again. Now, it's interesting because this side that I'm walking on, these perennial plants that I'll be grabbing and touching, those look great. And I've seeded a bunch of zinnias and other things. Like, look how pink and wonderful that is. But when we walk to the other side that mirrors this, the plants do not look this good. And so what would make that happen? That one side's different than the other. One's, I mean, they get, I feel like, the same amount of sun. Here's some more of those lilies that she had. I put some in this year. I had to move them from my house, so they had to go here. This plant is new. Hopefully it will live through the winter and come back. We'll see. That's kind of an experiment. But yeah, this whole lane has the same exact plants. And they are not healthy looking. They are short. We have gladiolas in here. These zinnias. More Japanese beetles. This is another one of those grocery row garden style areas, food forest island, not sure what to call it. Here we have some summer squash, looking pretty healthy. This area gets all of the afternoon sun, the baking hot sun. Oh, here is a garlic scape. So I left the scape on because once it's pointed up straight like that, that tells me that the garlic should be ready to pick. This is an onion that went to flower on its second year and is going to make some seeds for me. We have potatoes. We have tons of pumpkins and butternut squash, honey nut squash, butterbush squash, I believe. This is 3 squash plants in one area, like a multi-sown. We'll see if that works out good. We do have some sunflowers and gladiolas planted here, some fruit trees. We're trying to get some plums established. I'm trying to train everything to stay in its island instead of crawling out to the grass. So what I do is I take a stick and I kind of hold it down, and then I keep walking it whenever I'm there and moving things back in. It'll be nice to see all of these run all over these plants and just fill the whole space. But it's like, look how tall it is. Like, they feel so healthy to me, and I'm very proud of this space as well. It's nice to be able to plant something and not be there for weeks at a time. Oh, look at this tree. That is not gonna make it, I don't think. That looks bad. I don't know what happened. It's the only one in this island that looks like that. Here's where I put my stick last time I was there. And then we had, like, that much growth. So I just put my stick at the end, and then I'll come back and see where it is another day. I also have grass trying to take over this island too. I I really don't want to sit and dig it all out with a shovel when it's 95 degrees out, because I like a good 70-degree shady day, to be honest. That was my skin type. What you can do is chop and drop the grass so it feeds the soil, but I also haven't done any of that. I thought I was going to really be on top of my game of foliar feeding or soil drenching with a compost tea that has worm castings and compost in a bucket of water. Nope, haven't done any of that. Maybe we'll get to it. I think the reason that I don't do it is because I would have to drive out there at night when the sun's going down, and I have all this other stuff I'm doing with my life. Look at that purslane. Anybody want some purslane? They get massive here. Like in the watermelon patch, I was pulling them out and just leaving them on top of the soil. You can eat them apparently in salads or something. I'm not interested in doing that at this time. Here's a fuzzy leaf. We have to touch the fuzzy leaves. Touch it. Yes. So a lot of people talk about taking the flowers off the potatoes. I do not, and here's why. The potato farmers are wise around me, and they have been doing it for 4 generations, and they don't walk their field and pick off flowers of their potatoes. So that tells me that the difference in growth isn't that beneficial to do it. Here is an eggplant, which I've never grown before, and it doesn't really look like it is happy. I have to walk through this garden one more time with you guys. I am so proud of this space with the different companion plantings, with the amount of healthy growth I'm seeing. It's those rewarding. Now, I haven't had the harvest out of here, right? Like, we haven't had a huge haul to show anybody. I actually do weekly gardening live streams where it's sometimes educational, sometimes we're just hanging out talking about our gardens. I'd love to see you there in the chat. Come on over and ask a question. If you don't catch the live, catch the replay. It's usually any day of the week after 9 p.m. Central Time. When you guys ask questions, it helps guide me to answer of what we should talk about next in the show. I'd love to hear about your gardens. I did a live stream showing my fall plants that I've started. So if you want to see kind of like the future of what we're planning on putting out in the garden, that's going to show you what's gone well and what my vision is for the fall garden. And if you grow a fall garden, I would love to hear how your planting calendar is for that. Like, what month do you do what task for either starting something to transplant or just direct sowing? What's on your must grow crop list for fall, right? I'm so happy I planted a bunch of cilantro right here next to those marigolds in the pepper patch. I feel like that worked out really well. I do have some bare soil, as you can see, and a lot of people mulch with grass clippings or some kind of straw that they trust. I haven't gotten super into mulching. I kind of like just growing more things to chop and drop at this point. Look at the space. This cucumber is just taking over. Oh my goodness. So far I've made salads and salad dressings with harvest. We just eat the peas as garden snacks. It's just mind-blowing that these peas are as tall as me. Like, they're over 5 foot. Oh, here. This is my garden at my home, in my rental home, and this is what a green stalk looks like when you need to water it, just in case you were wondering. Here we have our volunteer surprise bonus plants of ground cherries. Space is feeling very wild. Whatever came out of the earth this year is what all this is. Look how beautiful that is, that color of that sunflower. I didn't plant any of those things. The only things I planted is what was in the green stalks. We're hopefully going to move at some point. That's why we are tearing down the gardens here and gardening away from home. Here's some of the micro dwarf orange hat cherry tomatoes. Still nothing ripe yet, though. Did have some calendula come back. Okay, so here's some containers where I planted a bunch of crops that I used in a cold frame style, and then they went to seed, which I didn't exactly show. What I want to show you is that plant. You see that one in the middle? And then this one in this container. One is ginger, one is turmeric. And I'm in zone 5A, it used to be 4B, Minnesota, and I'm growing ginger and turmeric. How cool is that? Pretty much makes like a living fence. right? You get privacy because this is the front yard. This is actually a cat, a kitty named Turbo, in a container on my deck, hanging out. Okay, so in this container, we have three things happening. One, I put a sweet potato in there, and now it's growing a slip, and it's July. So obviously I can't just plant that slip and expect a sweet potato when we get frost by October 5th. So it's going to be a house plant. Second, that tomato and cucumber is my son's. And third, here's what the green stalk looks like after you water it, and your celery is happy again. Just thought I'd show it that I took care of it.